Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're watching this. Uh, it is 4:20. Hey, happy 4:20, everybody, dude. Anyway, enough of that nonsense. Okay, I've been getting a lot of questions about my recommendations for like pickups and guitars and all sorts of stuff like that. People ask me They ask me what I would buy and what I recommend, things along those lines. So I figured I'd make kind of a one size fits all video. I want to get something out of the way first, and the first part of this video is going to be to chase off the cork sniffers and the gear snobs, or they'll probably get upset and dislike this video. But I have one disliker who loves to dislike all my videos. Gotta love my fans. They're great, Yeah, that's dedication. That's dedication, Every video, they dislike it no matter what. It's awesome. I mean, whatever. That's enough attention for that person. So anyway, here we go. Now, people are not going to agree with me. I honestly don't care about that. That's just the way it is. You're going to disagree, you're going to not agree, you're going to do whatever, say whatever, feel whatever, believe whatever you want. But science backs up what I say. And you just can't get past it. There's more videos, other videos online. Scott Grove, Dave's Guitar Channel. Many of them have gone into this more in depth and debunk this stuff, but people just keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it until it's forever. So here's my position on all of it, and things that people that talk to me a lot know already, but here you go. This is a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. Okay, first I'm going to go into how pickups work, and then after that I've got a bunch of pictures, or a handful of pictures. It's not going to be a really long video. A handful of pictures of guitars that I would suggest for beginners and for even intermediates. People who've been playing guitar for a while and just want to step up their game a little bit, or whatever. If you want to try a different type of guitar, things along those lines. Okay, so let's begin. Now, here's how pickups work. Pickups are made, and these images come from different websites, so if anybody gets upset and tells me, hey, you're not allowed to use my picture, whatever, there was nothing tied to it, so I'm just using it. So I'm not making money off of this. Anyway, and these are not my pictures, and I'll tell you that right away. This is a humbucker pickup. It's an exploded view of a humbucker pickup. You've got the pole pieces, you got the magnetic slugs, you've got all that stuff. And you have the not the magnetic slugs, but you have the slugs right there, and the adjustable pole pieces with the screws. And then down, if you look down to the middle area, right below the two bobbins there, the two long things, you have the magnet. And this is how a pickup is made. There's wire that's wrapped around those two bobbins you see there. And that wire is what it's what transmits the sound, creates the magnetic field and everything to transmit the sound, to bring it to the pots and out the wire of your guitar and into an effects box or whatever you have going after your guitar, amp, effects box, whatever. You can only make pickups a certain number of ways. You can only use certain materials. In this picture, it's an Alnico 5 magnet. There are Alnico 2s, 1s, 3s. There's all sorts of Alnicos, but the main ones they usually have, the Alnico magnets, are 2s and 5s. Those are the most common ones I've seen. I don't see very often much other than that. But the 2s and 5s do the job. And it's all personal preference as to what you want, what you may hear as to what you want as far as a magnet goes. So you've got the double coil here, which is the humbucker, and that those two are magnetically opposite, and they cancel out any kind of hum. And that's how that kind of works. This is all rudimentary. I'm not a science teacher in any way, shape, or form. But this is basically how a pickup works, and it detects a magnetic field created by your strings. Now, if you see, there's the single coil on the bottom, and there's the humbucker on the top. And the strings are over the pole pieces, the slugs and the screws, and they there's a magnetic field that's created around the pickup, which the string disturbs. It disturbs that magnetic field, and that transmits the signal or pitch, because the strings will vibrate according to a certain thickness under a certain pitch, and that transmits to the wires of the pickup, out the big wire from the pickup to your pots and your caps and what have you, out to your output jack, and then to your amp. Wood does not affect pickups because they're not part of the magnetic field. Wood does not affect it. Your neck, doesn't matter what it's made of. People have made necks from concrete. They've made guitars from concrete. They've made guitars from metal. There's aluminum guitars. There are people who have made guitars out of fence posts. And they all work the way they should. In fact, Fender themselves made a guitar out of cardboard. And it sounded like a Strat. You know, it wasn't made out of any kind of Brazilian rainforest wood that some monkey peed on in the 13th century or something, which is magical and has a certain kind of mojo to it. You know, mojo is all that stuff is just, it's a personal thing. Mojo is your interaction with the guitar. There's a certain kind of mojo between you. That's it. You know, because honestly, if you pick up, say, Stevie Ray Vaughan was still alive, and he plays his Strat through his amp, and you're sitting there with him, per se, and he hands his Strat to you, you're not going to sound like him, even though you're playing through his stuff. He sounds like him. It's the musician. It's not the guitar. So many people put this huge importance into the guitar. It's like, oh, the guitar is everything. The guitar is everything. And that's just marketing. That's companies marketing to you how they want to sell you this, that, and the other. There's no Tonewood. Nothing in that. It doesn't matter what kind of nut you have. The only reason that I've changed nuts in my guitars is because they're easier to work. It's hard to work a plastic nut. So if I want to change heights, because with nuts, a lot of times you get them from the factory and the string heights are just, it's too high above the first fret. And any chords you hit up there are going to be out of tune no matter what you do. So getting them to the right height requires that you work the slots and you file them in the whole 9 yards. That is tough to do with plastic nuts. They don't behave well with files. I mean, it's plastic. So, I mean, what are you going to do? So, bone, the Graphtec tusk nuts, graphite, that can all be worked by files. The bone and the Graphtec tusk nuts, those are the ones I would recommend and I would use. And I do use. Sometimes, if the nut is made right and it's really good, I'll leave the plastic nut in the guitar because it doesn't affect the sound. It's only about how you can work the nut and change the slots. That's it. That's all there is to it. And you can get the strings to slide through a plastic nut just as nicely as they'll slide through a bone nut. And they're not going to affect your tone. I don't give a crap what anybody says. It's just, this is science. It's not going to affect your tone. It has nothing to do with the magnetic field between your strings and your pickup. Okay? Period. That's it. The wood your guitar is made out of. All this resonance crap that I've seen in so many videos. These people look at, oh yeah, the neck vibrates at a certain speed and it'll give you a certain pitch, and a maple fretboard is snappier and it's got a snappier tone than your Richlight fretboard or your Rosewood fretboard or Pau Ferro or whatever the hell. You know what? I can get my tone from anything. Tom Scholz was asked once, and I've said this many times, this is an axiom of mine, Tom Scholes was asked, can you get your tone, you know, how much of your tone is coming from your guitar? And he said none. It has nothing to do with the tone. It's all the stuff that happens after the guitar. Period. That's all there is to it. So you can believe whatever you want to believe. You can shut off this video, you can go away mad, you can get angry, you can leave dislikes. It's not going to change science. Believe what you want. You know, I'm not knocking people for, if they want to buy an expensive guitar because they believe some kind of marketing hype that says, hey, well, this guitar is made of the best wood and that you could ever imagine. And you got Paul Reed Smith over there with that idiotic demonstration I've seen online where some guy is sitting there at a seminar and he's hitting blocks of wood with a hammer. I mean, come on. Really? And that's Tonewood? See, there's only one real type of guitar that is affected. Well, there's a couple of types of guitars that are affected by Tonewood, but none of them are electric guitars. Electric guitars are not affected by Tonewood. Period. End of story. That's all there is to it. And even if there's even a slight difference in a variation in how the string vibrates in the magnetic field, it's so slight that you would have to be a dog to hear it. Are you dogs? No. You're guitar players and you're human beings. That's what you are. I mean, I've never seen a dog playing a guitar, but hey, you know, and I've never heard a dog complain about Tonewood or talk about Tonewood. So, hey, what have you. This is the way it works. This is how the pickups work. And single coils have a bit of hum. The humbuckers don't, because they're designed to resist each other. The two bobbins are designed to resist each other. I don't know all the science that goes into how much, you know, the exact differences in the pickups. All I know is it has nothing to do with wood. It has nothing to do with your bridge material. It has nothing to do with your nut material. It has nothing to do with your tuners. It has nothing to do with any of that stuff. Your pots, your caps, the whole 9 yards. Now, pots and caps. Now, here's another thing that I've been had thrown at me for a long time. Pots and caps don't mean a damn thing, okay? What caps you use, what pots you use. And I know people are going to get all upset about that. Too bad. You don't like it, don't watch my channel, alright? That's all there is to it. Pots and caps don't mean a damn thing. I've gotten all sorts of different results over the 40 years I've been playing. 40 plus years I've been playing. With all different kinds of pots, all different kinds of caps. Some pots, those dime-sized pots were garbage, and they were scratchy, and they, you know, you turn them on and they just snap on rather than just coming on. But I've had some of those dime-sized pots that are nice and smooth, they're nice and clear, and it didn't matter what cap was hooked up to the tone pot, it was beautiful. And I've had problems with the 250s where they haven't, and then I've had wonderful experiences with the 250s. Same with the 500s, the 500K pots, garbage pots and good pots, and it didn't matter. You know, pots and caps, it doesn't matter. I've had guitars with all kinds of pots, all kinds of caps. And you get good ones and you get bad ones. You know, and it doesn't matter what kind it is to make it a good or a bad one. So when people see these dime-sized pots and they're like, oh, I can't stand it, I can't work with that. It's because someone has told them something along the line and they bought into it. Okay? Somebody... You know, a lot of this marketing is appealing to people's egos, and that's why it happens. Okay? How much you pay for a guitar doesn't matter. Okay? As long as a guitar is made well, and it's good enough for a beginner, and they don't have to pay $100 or $200 to have somebody else work on it to fix it, then that's, you know, that's great. Then you're off and running. For intermediates, for pros, as long as your guitar works. I mean, I've had so many people tell me, it's just like, oh man, this guitar, I don't know about it. I don't know if I connect with it. It's like, does it work? Does it play? Does it make sound? Does it feel good to play? I mean, does you know, the string height's right? Are the frets okay? There's no buzzing, you know? Is everything okay on it so that you can play it without going through too much of a hassle or going out of tune? Then what? It's all ego. See, people's egos are tied to their guitar. When somebody looks on a stage, they see a person, and they see a person with the guitar. And that is all a reflection of image. And that's all it is. Expensive guitars, cheap guitars, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's all image. And that's what it's about. Sure, you can get a guitar that isn't made very well, or if it's, you know, they really rushed it through at the factory when they're mass producing stuff. Yeah, that happens. But you know what? Here's a clue. They mass produce Fender guitars. They mass produce Gibson guitars. They mass produce any guitar company that isn't a homemade boutique guitar company are mass produced. And that custom shop guitar that you're buying, that $7,000 Gibson custom shop, who's it customized for? It's not customized for you. It's customized for the sit on the rack for somebody else to buy. That's what it's customized for. If I'm going to pay $7,000 for a guitar, I never would. But if I was stupid with my money and decided to pay $7,000 for a guitar, I would want my hand measured, I would want my arm length measured, I would want my finger lengths measured, and everything set up to my own physiology. Okay? That's how that's done. Jerry Garcia from the Grateful Dead, he was telling the story of how his, it was in Guitar Magazine a long time ago, in the 80s, and he was talking about how they made the guitars for him, those guitars with the tigers on them, and those were made by measuring his hands, measuring his arms, and, you know, it was all fully customized to his own physiology. That's a custom shop guitar. A $7,000 Gibson custom shop, a $10,000 or $15,000 PRS private stock, those are not customized for you. Those are customized to sit on the rack for some fool to buy. Okay? And anybody who's going to spend $7,000 on a guitar is an idiot, and I don't care what you say. Unless it was breathed on or sweated on by a famous guitarist and there's a kind of an antique or memorabilia value to it, no, it's not worth it. That's all there is to it. Or unless it's rare, it's a rare antique or a very well preserved antique guitar, it's not worth the $7,000. Sorry. You're going to buy a brand new guitar off the rack for $7,000? You're a numbskull. Plain and simple. You're what Scott Grove calls guitarded. That's all there is to it. What you do with your money is your business. You want to go do that? Go ahead. But it's dumb. And that's all I have to say about that. So, moving on from that, and I'm sure now, by now, we've cleared out all the gear snobs and the cork sniffers, unless they want to stick around and do whatever. Anyway, so moving on from that, now we have the people who are watching, who actually want to watch the video and don't want to put together that, you know, some kind of an attack on me, which happens. I get attacked about this stuff, about my preferences, and about my beliefs in the guitar world. I get attacked several times a week. It used to be like only a couple times a month. Now it's several times a week. Anyway, moving on. You're going to get a beginner guitar, okay? Start with something that has the best of both worlds. That's my advice above anything else. This is a Squier Strat. These go for anywhere. You can find them on sale for $130. Some I've seen them for $110. I've seen them for $150. The price varies, but you'll never, if you're being asked to pay over $200 for this, don't. You're getting ripped off. So anything under $179 for this, I don't know what the retail is offhand, but I think it's is it $150? I don't know, to tell you the honest truth. But this is a good starter guitar. This is a good guitar for your kid. This is a good guitar for an adult who wants to play. These are great guitars. There's a lot to them as far as adjustments and things go. Make sure you know somebody who can do a setup on them when you get it, or learn how to do a setup yourself. It's a great learning experience, and everybody, in my personal opinion, every guitar player should know how to do at least a basic setup on their guitar. String height, intonation, and that's about, well, neck adjustment too, to do the truss rod adjustment to get your neck straightness. Neck relief is what they call it. So neck relief, string height, intonation, and of course pickup height, because the pickup should be a certain distance from the strings. And that's kind of a preference thing. And as Dave's World of Fun Stuff says, there's no rules, only guidelines. And he's right. He's right. So, good starter guitar right there. It's got the best of both worlds. It's got the single coils, it's got the humbuckers, and you can make a myriad of different tones with this guitar. And they're great. I love them. You can upgrade all those electronics too, should you either pay somebody to do it or know how to do it yourself. And they're excellent platforms, and they're pretty solidly made guitars. Squier HSS Strat. That's an affinity that you're seeing there. And this is the kind of a step up from a Squier. These are kind of heavy, very solidly built guitars, but they've got some really good electronics, so you don't really have to worry about upgrading them. And they're excellent. They work very well. I've yet to see or play or hear a bad one. I have a red one, which would be on the right there. This is the Yamaha Pacifica. Another excellent starter guitar. It's a little bit more. It's like $180, I believe, is the retail price of these, and they're nice. They do the job, and as long as they're set up after you buy them, because no guitar. Or, not no guitar, but it's rare that a guitar will arrive perfectly set up. Unless it was done by the company themselves and they're specific about it. Otherwise, you're going to have to set it up to a certain extent. But they're great. They do the job. Now, if you want to... I'm a Les Paul guy. So if you want to play in the Les Paul era, or the Les Paul universe, this is a great starter Les Paul. This is what I would recommend as a starter Les Paul. It's a Les Paul Studio LT. It's by Epiphone, and it doesn't have any of that coil tapping or anything, or coil splitting, whatever. It's just your basic Les Paul 3-way switch. It's got the 2 humbuckers. It's made just like a classic Les Paul, and they sound like them. They come with some nice Alnico 5 pickups, and they're great. They're very nice, and they retail for around $250. So you're going up in price here, but it's worth it for you. These are nice and solid. So if you want to play a Les Paul, you like Les Pauls, this is the one to start with. They're excellent. I have a Les Paul 100, which is basically a studio like this. So it's around the same in it. I get awesome tones with it, and even before I upgraded the pickups, I was getting awesome tones with it. They're excellent. This is a Dean Vendetta, and let me rotate this one. Let me see if I can do that. Let's see, rotate right. There we go. Gives you a little bit better look, and these are awesome. I've got one of these. The only drawback is that string through body thing. This is supposed to be an XMT, but apparently the picture is wrong. On that string through body, I would avoid string through body guitars. I mean, yeah, some people seem to like them, but the problem is the strings are going to impact. They're going to be sitting on the edge of the bridge down there to the left of the pickups. They're going to be sitting on that 2-pneumatic bridge, and they're going to be it puts undue stress on the string, and it's just another spot which will affect it. It's where the guitar string is touching 2 points instead of 1 point at the fixed point there on the bridge, and that'll affect your sustain. I mean, it'll work. I mean, I have guitars with them. I'm not particularly fond of that design, but I work around it because I know how to work the electronics after the guitar, which is where the real tone happens. So, the one I have is a Vendetta XMT. It has a tremolo down there instead of that, instead of the string through body. But these are nice. These are great guitars. I would get the tremolo one, the XMT instead. This is just a plain old XM, and it'll give you a lot of options. They're excellent stock. Dean Vendettas, and you can find these on sale around Black Friday for like $100. They usually go for 200. So anywhere from 100 to 200 bucks is what you can expect to pay for these. And they're great, and they're light. They're very lightweight, so you're not going to break your back on this. And they're lighter than any Strat I've ever played, other than the Glary Strats are great, but I don't recommend them for beginners, because a Glary Strat, which is the sub $100 Strat, you need somebody who knows how to work on guitars. And otherwise you'll be paying an extra $100 for somebody to do a fret leveling and all that other stuff. That's got to be done to it. So just be wary. The Dean Vendettas are excellent, and mine, I love it. It's great. And it sounded good with the stock pickups, but I upgraded mine. I upgraded the bridge pickup. It sounds awesome. It works. Dime-sized pots, and I still have done Van Halen with it. I've done Boston with it. You name the band, and I can do it with this guitar. That's all there is to it. Dime-sized pots. Doesn't matter what kind of cap. None of that stuff matters at all. That's all there is to it. It's what you do after the guitar. As long as the guitar functions as a guitar should, and it transmits that magnetic signal, you're all set. What you do after the guitar is what shapes your tone and how you play on your strings with your fingers. And that's a bit more of an advanced topic. So, and here's this was the first guitar I'd bought in a long time. This is a nice little best of both worlds guitar as well. These go for about $200 retail. This is an Ibanez GR. That's a Geo. It's a GRX 70QA, and I have the blue one like this. And they're really nice. They've got a nice flat fretboard, very fast playing, and you get the best of both worlds with them because it's got that single coil in the middle. You've got the positions on that. There's a five-way switch, and positions 2 and 4 are just like a Strat, and they're beautiful. So you've got a lot of options there, and that's kind of a halfway point between a Strat and the two humbucker guitar. So there's some options. There you go. There's the video. You can only make pickups a certain way. This is a summary of it all. You can only make pickups a certain way. Tonewood does not exist for electric guitars, and even if there is a slight thing that somebody's little scientific monitor can detect, then there's no human on the planet who can hear it unless there's Superman. And as far as I know, Superman's only a comic book character. Okay? So, since none of us have super hearing, you're not going to detect any kind of slight differences, and nobody in the audience will. Because at the end of the day, who is it for? You're playing for the audience. You're not playing for you, other than, yeah, you can play for your own enjoyment. But if you're a performer, you better be playing for the audience instead of you. Because that's who is paying you. That's where your money's coming from. You know, that's who's going to make or break you, is your audience. If your most important thing isn't on the audience and entertaining them, then you've already lost the game. And you'll never get anywhere as a performer. That's all there is to it. And guitars only do what guitars do. Pickups only do what pickups do. Tonewood, what kind of fretboard you've got, what kind of nut you've got, I've already explained all of that. It's nothing compared to what you do after the guitar. That's all there is to it. As long as the guitar functions as it should, the string height's where it's supposed to be, pickup heights are where they're supposed to be, the electronics are functioning the way they're supposed to be, you're all set. The next step is just how you play and what you do after the guitar. I set up all my tones. That's the most important thing, is what I do after the guitar. Sure, what I do when I'm playing, yeah, that mimics certain things, because you can get harmonics and all that other stuff when you're picking. But what you do after guitar, effects, equalizers, everything, all that stuff, the amps, the speakers you choose in the amps, the the microphones you use, where you put the microphones, all of that. It's part of tone. Your settings on your amp, your settings on your EQ, your settings on your distortion if you use it, no matter what, your pedals, all the settings on those, that's where you create your tone. Your tone isn't created in your guitar. It's created after your guitar. And anybody who tells you otherwise is lying to you, and they're trying to either make a fast buck or they just want to puff up their egos by pushing the same myths that they bought, and they don't want to feel bad about buying into myths. Okay? And that is all I got to say about that. Thanks for watching. It's been a half-an-hour video. I didn't expect it to be a half an hour, but I kind of got sidetracked by ranting a little bit. But anyway, I'll see you in the next video, my next cover, and you have yourselves a wonderful evening, day, whatever time it is, and stay safe and just enjoy what you got. Enjoy what you play. And don't fall for garbage. Always double check what anybody says. Even me, you can double check all of it. But go with science instead of what some marketing guy is going to tell you, or some other person who's on YouTube or on a website somewhere who is secretly being paid by a company to tell you certain things. Have a good day.